was responsible for Diddy's day-to-day life, so he is able to provide a lot of information about what that life was like. He goes into detail on extensive use.
And in their complaint, Diddy's attorneys are saying that NBC Universal made the assumption that their client has committed numerous heinous crimes, including serial murder, R of minors, and S trafficking of minors.
All right, y'all, buckle up, because what you're about to hear is one of those stories, the kind that grabs you by the soul and shakes it. We're diving into a bombshell, one that's blowing up headlines and tearing through Hollywood like a wildfire. Imagine this, a woman who spent years deep in the inner circle of one of the most powerful men in entertainment, someone who was once described as his right hand, is now in the eye of the storm. We're talking about none other than Kristina Khorram, Diddy's former assistant, who's now being compared to Ghislaine Maxwell in lawsuits that are shaking the industry to its core. And now, she's finally breaking her silence.
This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. Something that I'll never forget, actually.
Let's rewind for a second. For years, Kristina wasn't just fetching coffee or taking calls, she was running the entire Diddyverse, multi-million-dollar deals, scheduling chaos, last-minute parties, brand launches, you name it, she handled it. In a 2021 post, Diddy even said it himself, "KK keeps everything in my life and business running." He didn't just see her as an employee, he called her family. She was the glue that held it all together. Imagine someone being so essential that your billionaire boss says publicly, "I don't know how I'd function without her." That's the level we're talking about. But now, that trust has shattered into 1,000 pieces.
Actually, I want you to listen to this description because there is a whole section of that complaint dedicated to Kristina Khorram, where Rodney Jones basically makes the allegation that Kristina Khorram is the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it says. And of course, we know that she has been the associate of deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein, who ended up getting convicted of trafficking charges, sentenced to 20 years.
In a wild twist, Kristina is no longer being praised as the mastermind behind the empire, but being called something way darker. In multiple lawsuits, she's being compared to Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, that Ghislaine. Let that sink in. People are now claiming Kristina wasn't just a bystander, but an enabler, a co-conspirator, someone who allegedly helped orchestrate wild, disturbing parties and worse, helped silence the people suffering behind the scenes. And after months of deafening silence, Kristina has finally spoken out, and her words are shaking the table.
And I know you said he explained all of the items that were involved in these Wild King nights. Did he mention who would participate as well?
A lot of them were unknown to him. He did mention that a lot of the women were very, very young as 20, not underage, but certainly young women.
She released a statement through Rolling Stone, and y'all, she's not holding back. She says these allegations are false and are causing incalculable damage to her life, her name, and her family's peace of mind. She's calling it a targeted smear campaign, and she's not here to play the scapegoat. It's emotional, it's calculated, and it's clearly just the beginning.
Did Phil explain why he's speaking out now?
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator. He wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked in the future.
Kristina continues, "I have never condoned or aided the mistreatment of anyone." Her tone? Precise. Legal. She's speaking to the court of law, not social media. She calls the accusations unthinkable, insisting that anyone who knows her knows she would never stand by or participate in something so dark. But baby, timing is everything, and the world is wondering, why now?
A lot of times you have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent.
Was this all part of a PR game? A last-ditch attempt to protect herself as Diddy's house of cards starts tumbling down? Or maybe, just maybe, is she laying the groundwork to turn on Diddy in court? Because let's be real, by speaking out, she's in it. She's in the fight now. There's no more hiding, and this story just took a dangerous turn.
The moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is this fun for him? Is this like a test?
The lawsuits aren't slowing down. In fact, they're multiplying, and Kristina's name keeps popping up like a ghost that won't go away. Multiple ex-employees describe a chaotic environment where people were forced to participate in events and actions that were, let's say, way outside any job description. One lawsuit even claims Kristina made sure staff carried bags filled with party supplies.
Well, I think it's heating up, and I think she has to make that statement at this point because a lot of people are making accusations. I'm sure there's an issue in terms of the federal investigation and what's going on with the federal investigation and if they're going to be interviewing her or using her as a witness. So my belief is all those things are coming to a head.
You read between the lines. And then there's that phrase, the one that's become infamous. You know, Sean will be Sean. Allegedly, those were Kristina's words when a former producer tried to report an incident involving Diddy. That casual dismissal, it's now being painted as the symbol of silence and complicity within Diddy's empire. The kind of silence that keeps it hidden. The kind of silence that protects the powerful.
In normal trafficking cases, you think of something a lot different than those accusations. And I do believe that she didn't know the details of everything that was going on. I don't really find it plausible to believe that she didn't know anything was going on.
But despite it all, Kristina is standing firm. She says she was just an employee doing her job and that she's being unfairly dragged down by proximity. But people are asking, how do so many people point fingers at the same person and it's all just smoke? Is she the fall girl, or was she really running things behind the scenes?
Some kind of statement. I don't see this statement hurting or helping her. You know, it's one of those innocuous statements that's essentially like, let's wait and see how things turn out. I'm going to be vindicated. You know, that's kind of the standard when it comes to these statements that are made and the individual that are stating it. It's just, like I said, I think the heat is starting to be turned up on a lot of these different cases, criminal and civil.
Her statement has stirred the pot like never before, because now people are wondering, will she take the stand in Diddy's trial? And if she does, will she double down on her innocence or flip the script and expose the secrets she's kept for years? She knows everything, the people, the parties, the patterns. She could be the whistleblower or the next domino to fall.
Do you believe a statement like this, and given the allegations against her, does this give you a clue about her potential role in this criminal case? In other words, do you think she could be called as a witness by either the prosecution or the defense?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine any universe where she's not called as a witness by either the defense or the prosecution. If someone is...
But let's not kid ourselves. This statement, it might have made things worse, way worse, because if there's one thing messier than a scandal, it's a scandal with layers. And Kristina just added another one. We're not even done yet. Next up, the specific lawsuits that are naming her, dragging her, and calling her out. And trust me, it only gets wilder from here.
Next suit is filed by a man from California who claims Sean Combs raped him in 2009.
Let's talk about the lawsuits, because whoo, baby, these aren't just light allegations. These are detailed, explosive, and naming names. Starting with Rodney Lil Ro Jones, the producer who worked on Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album, Off the Grid. Jones, he is not holding back. He straight up compared Kristina to Ghislaine Maxwell, said she wasn't just some assistant minding her business. She was allegedly part of the machine that kept everything running. From the parties, to the logistics, to silencing complaints, Rodney claims she was involved every step of the way. He said that when he tried to raise concerns about Diddy's behavior, Kristina brushed it off with the now notorious line, "You know Sean will be Sean, y'all." That sentence has haunted this entire saga. It's dismissive, it's cold, and it's become the slogan of a culture that allegedly protected Diddy at all costs.
And every day I'm working on that case. Every day we're figuring something out. Every day we're talking to investigators. And that's essentially what Alex did on this case.
But Rodney isn't the only one speaking up. Another former assistant, Phil Pines, is coming with his receipts too. Phil says Kristina didn't just know what was happening, she allegedly helped keep it hidden. According to him, she once told him to stay quiet about an incident he witnessed, warning him about the consequences if he didn't. Consequences? Oh, we're not talking about losing your job. We're talking fear, intimidation, alleged threats, a system where silence was survival. And Phil says he was the one left to clean up the aftermath of what he calls Diddy's wild nights. The kind of nights that left hotel rooms destroyed, candles melted into carpets, furniture turned upside down, evidence of chaos everywhere.
I believe that it opens yourself up to some negligence claims. Again, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to go that far, But certainly, I think it does open himself up to some negligence claims. Maybe that was part of the reason why he dismissed with prejudice. I don't know.
And according to Phil, Kristina wasn't just in the loop. She was allegedly orchestrating the whole thing behind the scenes. He says she arranged who came to the parties, made sure the right people were there, and that staff knew exactly what their roles were. Even worse, a woman from San Francisco filed a legal complaint saying she was threatened before a traumatic incident, and she's naming Kristina as one of the people tied to that moment. Kristina, of course, has denied all of it. But let's be real, the accusations are stacking up so fast it's hard to breathe.
Now, this particular defense attorney's reason for quitting wasn't really a reason at all, making his departure a lot more puzzling.
So why now? Why is Kristina choosing this moment, this exact moment, to speak out? Some people think it's calculated, a strategic move. Maybe she's trying to clear her name before she gets subpoenaed in Diddy's criminal case. Maybe she knows what's coming, and she wants to get ahead of it. And if she does end up testifying, baby, the courtroom is gonna be theater. Kristina knows the dirt. She's been in the house, the studio, the plane, the yacht, all of it. If she flips, whew.
Potentially, it could be a conflict with the client, right? A disagreement. They just don't get along. The communication is poor. They don't agree on defense strategy. It could be a conflict with one of the other lawyers. Obviously, seems like Agnifilo is the lead on this case, although Rico was certainly his 1B.
But let's not ignore this. By speaking up, she's made herself front and center. Her name is now burned into every headline. Every lawsuit that mentions her just got more weight. The media's watching. The courts are watching. We're watching. And you better believe the other plaintiffs and lawyers are licking their lips. Because her statement, it's now part of the evidence. It could help her. Or it could backfire in a way we've never seen before.
And I know obviously there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously, a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe Agnifilo, maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented them.
This story is far from over. Diddy's criminal trial is approaching like a freight train, and Kristina, she's either going to be a witness, a whistleblower, or a co-defendant in the eyes of public opinion. People are asking, will she stay loyal to Diddy, or will she distance herself and protect her own skin? Because, honey, this story isn't just about one man anymore. It's about the system and the people who allegedly kept it going behind closed doors.
I think it has to be the defense, the consent, because look, sometimes you can argue that this activity never happened, right? It wasn't me, defense. But this is not your typical assault case. There are a lot of people there, right? There are people that are arranging the workers. There are people that are setting up lights and cameras, booking hotel rooms. Obviously, Diddy has a large entourage, so...
Let's talk public opinion, because Kristina's statement lit a firestorm online. Some folks are defending her, saying she's just a woman caught in a powerful man's mess. But others, they're dragging her for filth, calling her complicit, calculated, and just as guilty. One TikTok said, she's trying to save herself before the feds show up at her door. Another user posted, she knew what was going on. You don't run someone's empire for 8 years and not know. And honestly, that's the part that stings, because when you're that close to someone like Diddy, the line between employee and enabler gets real blurry.
Jay-Z is speaking out this morning after the civil suit accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of rape was dropped. NBC's Chloe Malas is here with more.
So now we ask, do you believe Kristina's claims of innocence? Or is this just a case of someone trying to erase their fingerprints before the lights come on? Because one thing is clear, her statement didn't tie up any loose ends. It unraveled more questions, more rumors, more speculation. And as the legal battles rage on, the only thing we know for sure is this. Kristina Khorram went from being Diddy's right hand to a central figure in one of the biggest scandals the industry has ever seen. And baby, this is just the beginning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned because the tea is boiling and we're not done sipping yet. We're not done sipping yet.